until November 10th of 2020. Normally it goes on September 25th. It's been pretty methodical and like, you know, rhythm to the beat of when sorry, I was yawning and trying not to yawn at the same time. When major expansions like fall expansions released. So my thoughts on the delay, personally. Okay, so the last time they delayed something was with Shadowkeep, because you know they can now, and I'm glad we didn't get it when we were supposed to, because it was pretty rough as it is for the delay. So hopefully, I don't want another Shadowkeep. There's issues with Shadowkeep that I know that everybody talks about. I don't want those same issues. So if delaying it by an extra month, tough of that, because Shadowkeep is delayed to October instead of September, then I'm fine with the delay. But here's what I would like to see in the game. I would like to see performance and fixes to the game. I want it to run smoother. I want everything to kind of mesh together like a pizza. You know, everything's layered right. I don't want to wait that long with barely any content and then get a disappointment. I don't want a disappointment. I know the Bungie devs, I know Deej, and everybody that works at Bungie is hard at work right now, and doing as much as they can because of COVID, and prayers for them to stay safe. All that's great. But at some point, the excuses need to stop. Because I know they said there's only so much they can do from home, and that's true, but the community is expecting and wants fixes, anti-cheat, this, that, and the other. If they're delaying it for, like Askross said, for anti-cheat, then I'm all for it. But at the same time, if you don't, and you still go another month without anti-cheat, well, when you release, you know, DLC, and you still have nothing involving anti-cheat, there's an issue. The anti-cheat software, this is one of the things that I hope just the delay is for, needs to be able to detect any sort of code that's intentionally injected in the game, like aimbot. That is something that you intentionally put into the game. There is other things like infinite ammo, flying through the air at insane speeds. The game needs to be able, you could say the AI of the game needs to be able to detect abnormal things. And I'm not talking about lag, I'm not talking about latency issues, I'm not talking about peer-to-peer connection, I'm not talking about any of that. When you report somebody, and on console, and this is specifically on console, when you report somebody, don't just report for every single lag, hick, and herring in the world, because, you know, people have been wrongfully banned in the past for Wi-Fi. There has been wrongful bans in the past. It's happened. It's very, very, very rare, but it's happened. Also, if you're gonna load up in Crucible, make sure your internet's, your bars are solid. I constantly check my bars in Crucible. You know, constantly. If I notice they drop to when they're bottom lining, I stop. Even if that causes me to get killed, I stop. Why? And I just go hide somewhere until they rise up again. So it doesn't, like, it's the considerate thing to do, you know? Or leave the match. So what? You get a ding on the record. So what? Stats in this game really don't matter. I mean, it's nice to work on and stuff like that for certain stats, but other stats, they don't really matter, honestly. Unless they have to do with, like, KD and percentage of accuracy. And as far as the anti-cheat, it needs to be able to detect, especially for PC. PC needs an anti-cheat. We don't have to get it as much as I mean, on console we get the DDoSers and we get that, and maybe I don't even know about lag switching anymore. Um, we still get those guys, right? We still get them, but we don't get all the craziness that they do, and we need it to happen mid-game. Sorry, not so fast. You're being banned. You know, it needs to happen. It just needs to happen. As far as the story, I like seeing cutscenes, but I also like a story where it's involved and in depth and layers, and the characters are fleshed out. They're not cardboard. They're sculptures and they move. I don't like seeing cardboard cutouts just stuck on the side of the street. You know, if it's like a 3D Iron Man, it's like sculpted. You can see the cracks, the crevices, the shadows, the light. You can see all that. It's a metaphor. I want depth to the story. I want 3D. I want to be able to see around. I want to be able to see the imperfections of the characters, the reactions. I want the game to move towards a better future. People want my thoughts on using darkness subclasses. It's a little gray area, honestly, as far as the darkness subclasses go. They need to be. I don't want it to launch, and we have these cool subclasses which are new, and they kind of similar to like Code of the Commander was to Bubble. You know what I mean? It needs to be different. And so far, when I've seen the Titan Slam, literally sends out a wave effect, right? And I'm just kind of curious. How does that function? That seems like and he gets gauntlets, so it's not like, and it's like, can he do that once? Because that seems like inspiration from, because on God of War, Kratos, in his rage mode, he can jump up in the air and slam, and it sends out a wave. Is it similar to that? Can he do it multiple times? You know, there's some questions. What about the Warlock super? Is it just to freeze things, or is that just an ability? What's the actual super? Is it like a beam, like we have actually seen? Or there's still so many questions. And the game, PS4s, they have to think about lag. The PS4 needs to be able to handle all of this. It's great if you invent all this cool stuff, but if the PS4, which is what some people will still be on, can't handle this stuff, I don't care how great the game is, it's unplayable. You need to make sure that it functions and is solid, and it doesn't like lag the game or cause stupid things to happen. I will be doing a TWAB video in a bit, but there's also another key issue for activities, for weapon investment, and there needs to be better ways to get these ascendant shards, because when you put sunset in the game and you put it back in the game, that changes everything. I have to make sure this season that I get, especially for my Titan mainly, I need to get new Trials armor, right? Even though it's going to be available, I need to get, because I like this Trials armor, right? I want to get some more. I need to grind for tokens. I have so much stuff in my loot pool now that I got to grind for tokens. They need to fix Trials. Like, there's so many things that have to go right in Beyond Light. There is hopefully some update to the anti-cheat system. There needs to be game stability fixes. There needs to be, I shouldn't be lagging as much as I did the other day when I was streaming in the tower. Like, that is insane. These things need to change. The game needs to function smoother. Now, of course, with PS5 coming out, which I'm gonna get, but I gotta get my finances correct, and I gotta get Beyond Light pre-ordered first. That has to happen first. My dog, there's so many other things that have to go on, and I have to save up for a PS5, and I'm gonna save up for a PS5. Now, it's 60 frames a second. What does that do? We haven't seen, there's all these questions that come up with, okay, now that we're at 60 frames a second, are we going to get cheaters like on PC? And of course, I think that's different because PlayStation 5 is still hard to crack on the PC, these new mods and all that stuff. So I think it's still the same. All in all, and I'm gonna put big emphasis on the MMO. I want our character to speak. You want to move towards an MMO route, then allow us to make choices. When it comes to Lightfall, which I think darkness is going to completely overtake, and there's going to be dark guardians and stuff, give us a choice. You need to be able to give the player a choice. That is an MMO game. You have real life choices, and have two different like storylines. If you choose the light, if you choose the darkness, there has to be, the game has to develop. There needs to be depth to the game and the characters. There needs to be a point to the weapons. Raids, I want them to be fixed. They need to have raid weapons that don't have just the same perks as every other Tom, Nick, and Harry gun out in the sandbox. They need to be raid weapon perks. Raid weapon perks need to come back. Like, I can't even remember, dude. In Wrath the Machine, King's Fall, you deal more damage to taken enemies. And I don't want mods. I want a perk on the gun that says, for example, in Garden of Salvation, when you take arc damage from Pulse Radial area, or arc transfusion, you call it arc transfusion, and the light GG description is when you take damage from the area and increases your weapon damage by 10% or something like that. They need to get creative. I want raid weapons. I want there to be a point to go out to kind of grind for that role, because I would rather have that than Rampage. It needs to, or it could be like an adept mod, which is still for the raid weapon. I'm tired of these lame perks that we've had since the game came out. Throw new ones in there, like with the Iron Banner. I want new perks that are powerful, that change the game, change the way you play. I could go on and on about the subject, and I don't want to make this just a droning on video. But to recap over everything, there is 5 things that need to go right and Beyond Light. Some mention of an anti-cheat. Okay? Cheaters must be stopped. 2. Depth of story and character development. 3. We need to be able to have a choice. Light and darkness, it's a choice. It's not just forced. We need to be able to have a choice to choose the sides. Okay? Free will. We have free will in real life. We can identify with the game. Free will. 4th, weapons need to be addressed. I'm tired of unoriginal perks. I'm tired of multi-kill. I want something fresh. And 5, stability, game stability, with the new supers and like how they're gonna change things. You have to get those right when you introduce new supers. Like I remember back before Taken King, we had Bubble and we had Slam for the Titan. We had Golden Gun or Blade Dancer. We had Sunsinger or Nova Bomb. When King's Fall came around, you got Tether, you got Storm Trance, and you got Hammers. You got Solar, Void, and Arc subclasses for each character, because one character had maybe a Solar and an Arc, or a Void arc, like Titan had Void arc. And then you get in the Solar subclass, and you know, there needs to be like the. It's cool that you can build and stuff and slow things down, and all that's kind of fine, well and dandy. But the game, I'm worried about that. I don't want them to be like the other supers, or even remotely similar. I want them to be different, fresh. And I just thought of one other thing, actually. Enemy AI. I want them to do different things. I don't want, like I was explaining in my Master Solo for the Master Nightmare Hunt for Fogal, the enemy just kept poking out, and he didn't even do anything. It would be cool if they poked out and then threw a grenade. You know, add things up. Make the enemies have life to our enemies. Like, they just seem like stupid monsters. There's no depth. Like, make, like, I don't know, like, the House of Light. It starts with an M. I can't remember his name. He helped us with the Outbreak mission. I would like some dialogue. Like, I don't want everything to be the enemy, you know? Because, like, we had Varex on the House of Judgment, you know? There's interactions. They spoke. Like, the Knights. I would like depth to the enemies. Like Knights and Cabal, like how Gaul interacted with our Guardian. It's fantastic. I hands down, I will always support the Red War campaign when the game first launched. Oh my gosh, it was such a fresh. It was fresh. It was different. And I think I can add one more in there. 7. So there's 7 things total. Weapon sunsetting. You know, and trials. Those things have to be addressed. So technically 8. So those are my thoughts. There's 8 things. Anti-cheat has to be mentioned. Game depth and story. We gotta give us a choice. It's an MMO game. New perks, fresh of the raids. The supers, they have to function great. I'm tired. I want the supers to work out. 6. You know, what I just discussed. And 8, the trials and the doohickey. I'm having a brain fart. Major brain fart. Trials and I completely forgot. Wow, that's a major oof. Well, anyways, you guys heard in the video. This is actually that's gonna frustrate me. It's not a mini. I just said it. Why can I not remember? This is all it is. I'll probably need to eat something because, man, that's horrible. Well, anyways. Those are my thoughts. I mean, there's 8 things, and I'm probably going to remember them later. They kick myself in the butt. That really needs to get right. And I'm going to go over one more time, hoping I remember. Anti-cheat, depth of story, choice, new perks, fresh in the game, super, trials, I'm forgetting things now. Hold on. Remember. What did I say? I discussed it in the video. Weapon sunsetting. There we go. That was 6. I'm still missing 1, but I remembered. Oh, dude, that's horrible. That is so bad. Forget what I'm saying and I'm streaming it. Alright, well anyways. Those are literally the 8 things. I mentioned the 8 things. I'll have to write them down later and get a more comprehensive video on TWABs and stuff that have come out this last week in 2 weeks. Start catching back up in the streams. So, you all have a wonderful day. God bless. If you liked the video, go ahead and hit that like button. you're not subscribed, there's still a lot of people that aren't subscribed that watch my content. If you like the content, go ahead. As far as my past mistakes, and this is addressing all the videos, I cannot change things that I did, and I don't bother deleting them because I made the mistake, such as some public ones, and some things I want to be about gaming, Christ in gaming. And sure, I can give my thoughts, but I don't want to be a part of that toxic culture that picks sides when it comes to public mistakes made by other people. So, definitely give my thoughts, sure, but that's as far as it goes. And then I definitely need to wait until more evidence comes out, or I need just to wait in general and just not say anything, and then make a video later. There's so many ways I could have handled things differently, and I'm sorry for that. I can't change what I did. My apology still stands. So anyways, that's it for the video, and that's all, folks.